from the quarterback position to the wide receiver position now. Another deep, deep position in this draft. But you got a hot take. You talk about, your mock draft is based on what the streets are saying, not really what you would do.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
Yep. So that leads us to, where you have Ja'Marr Chase slated. Right now you have a mocked 5 to the Bengals. You said, though, what'd you say?
Mm-hmm.
You were making a pick. There's no question you'd be picking Sewell. Like I know.
Not even.
Not even with a shred of a doubt in your mind.
No, none. I'm definitely not taking Ja'Marr Chase over him.
And here's the thing. Like, you might be. You smart, man. You
I like to think so.
Like football ready.
I like to think so.
You are the only person I've seen so down on Ja'Marr Chase. So why? So why are you so much of a critic of Ja'Marr Chase, man?
Here's my thing.
Everyone loves the dude.
So me being a critic to Chase is completely relative to the way the consensus views him, right? I don't view Ja'Marr Chase as a Julio Jones level prospect in any way, because if you look at across the board, what Jones is as a physical specimen is just better than what Ja'Marr Chase does, flat out.
Okay.
At 6'4", 4'3", right? He's just a better size athlete player. That's why I had DK Metcalf so high, right? When in the 2018 draft, I had him like a top 10 player, because if I'm drafting a wide receiver top 10, I have to believe that I think that wide receiver can be the best receiver in football at some point in his career. I just don't see that happening with Ja'Marr Chase because I don't think the tools are there. He plays big, right? He's dominant in this contested situations, maybe the best I've ever seen. But he's only like 6'1", 215 pounds, I think. I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head. Not an elite burner, right? A 4'4" guy. I think he ran like a 4.39 at his pro day. Let's cut a couple seconds off of that one because, we know the pro day stretching things a little bit. I think he's a 4.45, 4.50 guy. Which is not bad, and I think he's going to be a good player. I have him as a top 20 player. I just don't think he's an elite prospect. I think that way of Penei Sewell, who's my number 2 player, right? So that's my issue. If I have Ja'Marr Chase at 17 or wherever I have him on my board, taking that second player in Sewell at a position that I think is more important to the Bengals than wide receiver is. Yeah, that's where that thought process.
That's my thing with the Bengals, that you watch Joe Burrow go down with a horrific injury. First of all,
terrible.
Heisman winner, face of your franchise, number 1 pick, and I get you want to match him, with Ja'Marr Chase. That's his guy, but you still have T. Higgins. You still have receivers that you can develop.
Boyd's there.
And why can't you? And we mentioned it's a deeper wide receiver class. Why can't you grab a receiver in the 2nd, 3rd round and get what is clearly to me the number 1 O lineman in the draft, and that's Sewell. That's the thing. So I have a question though, Matt. We're talking about big board now. Is Ja'Marr Chase your wide receiver 1?
He's not. He's
So
my wide receiver rank. So I am a big believer in the ability to separate. I'm a big believer in the ability to run clean routes and consistently get open. I think Ja'Marr Chase wins with how he wins, but I think in the NFL, he's either going to be instantly shuffled into that Michael Thomas role where you're just kind of playing as a big slot and you're just consistently getting fed those contested catches. In Cincinnati, that does nothing for me because Tyler Boyd already does that, right? So Tyler Boyd does that really, really well, and maybe the most underrated slot guy in the league. T. Higgins is already your X, and I don't think you should take T. Higgins off your X as a 6'3", right, alpha guy who I like T. Higgins almost as much as I liked Ja'Marr Chase last year. And so to me, that's just a really repetitive skill set in Cincinnati. It just doesn't make sense to kind of fill Ja'Marr Chase in and have one of him or T. Higgins play that Z. So I have Devontae Smith as my wide receiver 1. I have Rashad Bateman as my wide receiver 2. That one's kind of out there. If you talk to like analytics guys, apparently Bateman's like really, really well viewed on that side of the spectrum. I'm not over there a ton on that side of Twitter. They don't like me over there. But I have Rashad Bateman as wide receiver 2. And then Jalen Waddle and Ja'Marr Chase actually have essentially a tied grade for me because they do everything that they do so completely opposite. But I just value what Jalen Waddle does a little more than Ja'Marr Chase. So that's just an editor's note that I have him over Chase at wide receiver 3 and 4, but they're very close grade wise and you could really put either one where.
Wow. Personally, I see a lot of similarities between, like, I'm a big Ja'Marr Chase believer. Mm-hmm. I think Julio's just way too hide. But I see a lot of similarities with DeAndre Hopkins. He's not a big separation guy. He's a great contested catch guy. And DeAndre Hopkins was semi-overlooked coming out from Clemson. He was a late first-round pick. And I think I see a lot of similarities between him and Hopkins. What do you think about that?
Okay, and that's a good point. So, Matt, let me ask you this then. You just talked about for the quarterback position, the NFL is a league that looks a lot about upside. So you talk about Ja'Marr Chase. What's his upside then? And is his upside enough to be wide receiver one, maybe one of the best in the league.
I think Jamar Chase, I think a better comparison in my eyes is like a Michael Thomas, a guy who's not going to create. So I think DeAndre Hopkins, what he never got recognition for, and Keenan Allen's there too, is how dominant they were at running routes, how crisp they were, how good they were at changing direction. Jamar Chase does not have great ankle flexibility. He's not real bursty out of their stems and the route breaks. So that's where you create a little bit of separation. I think with Michael Thomas, it's a little more, you're going to run clean routes, but you're not asking a ton of the route tree. Just get over the middle, down the field, 10 to 15 yards, somewhere in that area, regardless on if someone's near you. As long as you're not throwing it to the defender, there's a good chance your guy comes up with it, right? I think that's what Jamar Chase does really well. I don't love that fit in Cincinnati, though, like I said, because of Tyler Boyd. I think he would have to be a more prototypical X, which then relegates T. Higgins down. So that's where I get the issue with Jamar Chase. Ideally, right in a perfect world, like let's say Green Bay moved up for him because he slid, then I think we're talking about a guy who's got really, really great upside because Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to focus him so commonly in the slot. I think Aaron Rodgers can put him down the field, and now Jamar Chase is really making money where he wins predominantly. I don't know if Cincinnati's built for Chase to be down the field so often because, like they said, they're ignoring the offensive line with that pick, theoretically.
Right.
Yeah, that's fair. So you think his upside then looks like a Michael Thomas?
I think that's best case scenario, right? So
that's
what I'm saying.
That's what upside is, though. No, that's what upside is, though. That's best case scenario.
I think if we're talking about like a guy like Jalen Waddle, I think we're talking about a guy like Tyreek, who I would rather have on my team than Michael Thomas personally. If we're talking like a Rashad Bateman, I think he's more of a Devontae Adams. You can toss that one up. Devontae went crazy this year, obviously, but if you take out their average career or Devontae Adams' average versus Michael Thomas's average, you can really toss up whichever you prefer. And then Devontae Smith is a harder projection because I don't think he has the same upside some of these other guys have, but I do see how he's going to win in the NFL from day one, and I think he's going to be the most productive rookie because I think regardless of where he goes, his skill set translates.
I think Devontae Smith looks more like that Hopkins comparison.
I do too. I would agree.
Yeah.
I think Devontae Smith is similar to what I saw from CeeDee Lamb last year, and I loved CD. CD's my highest rated receiver ever, and DeAndre Hopkins was the comparison I made to CD because I thought that one was so evident. And CD brings a little more yak ability than Devontae Smith had, with a little bit less athletic ability. So that one is close, but there were a little bit of differences there.
We'll see. I feel like that's your boldest take.
Maybe it could be. There's a couple. I don't like Gregory Rousseau. That one, if he's great, that one's going to play.
And here's the thing: your bold take may not be Cincinnati taking an O lineman because it's a bigger issue than wide receiver. I think where people gonna have are really gonna disagree is you not having Jamar Chase wide receiver one.
I've gone to war over that a couple times. Trust me, the people have let me know. The people have let me know they're not with that.
He's the one you're watching next year, rooting against.
Right. Also, and here's my thing is I'm pretty sure if he's picked in Cincinnati, I'm gonna win the debate anyways because I don't see Jamar Chase outproducing any of these other guys who might go to a better fit, right? Like if you let Devontae Smith fall to Philadelphia, I'd rather have that number than Chase in Cincinnati because I think Smith is just gonna automatically get more targets, get higher quality targets.
I definitely agree about Cincinnati. They definitely need an O-line.
Exactly. Like, if Joe Burrow's constantly under pressure, and you've got Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins doing their thing, plus Joe Mixon's going to eat. It's just a lot of mouths to feed when I think that the value you're getting from Penei Sewell just makes more sense to me.
I think after we saw last year's draft, too, and saw, Tristan Wirfs work out, and a couple of these other O-linemen work out, take the best O-lineman in the draft. I mean, yeah. There's a reason why people... As a kid, you're like, why are they taking an offensive lineman number one overall? But then you grow up and you're like, it's one of the most important positions.
When Zach Martin
got taken, everyone's like, "What offensive lineman?"
Exactly.
Like, what are we doing? And look at
back when Jimmy Kimmel did his celebrities and read me tweets things. I can't remember if it was the NFL edition or the Dallas Cowboys edition, but Zach Martin was reading, and the tweet was like, yeah, it's cool that the Cowboys drafted Zach Martin. It's like going to the state fair when you really wanted to go to Disneyland. And I was like, yeah, but you had a good ass time at the state fair, I bet. You'd be pissed if you weren't going to the state fair no more. If we couldn't go to the Dogwood Fair, I know we'd all be
Disneyland's got those long lines. State fair, you're at the front every time.
Exactly. I grew up in Texas.
Love it.